Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
We are following breaking news out of Maine tonight, where law enforcement officials say the shooter in the mass shooting in Lewiston has been found dead.
Maine's governor confirmed the news during a press conference just a short time ago.
My deepest gratitude of all the people of the state of Maine, to these wonderful members of law enforcement who came from all over to help us solve this crime and put closure on this investigation.
Investigators say the 40-year-old man died from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. They say his body was found in the woods near Lisbon. That's about 8 miles from Lewiston, where the shootings took place at a restaurant and a bowling alley. Police have been searching for him since that Wednesday night when those shootings started.
His death may not bring solace to many, but now is a time to heal. And with this search concluded, I know that law enforcement continues to fully investigate all the facts so we can bring what closure we can to the victims and their families.
Earlier today, officials identified the 18 victims who were killed. They range in age from 76 to 14 years of age. Another briefing on the investigation is scheduled for tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Well, as the UAW's Ford National Council makes its way to Detroit to vote on whether to send its tentative agreement to the membership for a vote, round-the-clock talks are on with GM and Stellantis. Tonight, sources say they're close to a deal, one that mimics that 25% wage increase the UAW secured for Ford.
Let's bring in Mara McDonald live at Solidarity House tonight. Mara, interesting note here. If these deals are ratified, Wall Street is projecting that it is going to cost each of these automakers a pretty penny.
You're talking about the analysis from Deutsche Bank, Devin, and the numbers are staggering. Take a look. If this deal that Ford has is essentially the same one that all the others go to, it's going to cost Ford $6.2 billion over 4 years. For GM, that's $7.2 billion. Stellantis, $6.4.
For months, we've said that record profits mean record contracts. And UAW family, our stand-up strike has delivered.
Sunday will tell the tale. The UAW's National Ford Council will be voting on whether the tentative deal reached will be presented to the membership. I've yet to talk to anybody who thinks it won't be presented and ultimately accepted. But that's a process, and the UAW chief has committed to making the deal book on this available digitally so the rank and file can get a good look at the nitty-gritty. But tonight, all eyes on what has turned into round-the-clock talks with GM and Stellantis. We're talking hours of bargaining late into the night and early hours of the morning.
Sounds good. Hope we get similar, the same, or better.
GM's latest offer mimics that Ford tentative agreement on wages, according to sources, which means it's sweetened the offer from 23% to a 25% wage hike. Now, on 44 days of this strike, Ford is back at work. GM and Stellantis are still walking the line. But if the intensity of the talks are any indication, a deal is close. Back here live, the UAW chief has said he's going to update the membership on Sunday. That was supposed to be about Ford, but could we see a deal on all three? It's possible. We're live on Detroit's East Side tonight outside Solidarity House. I'm Mara McDonald. Local 4.
And for that reason, we will update the story throughout the weekend here online and on the air at Local 4. All right, Mara.
Well, it has happened again. We continue to show you the driver drama that keeps taking place at the corner of John R. and the Davison Service Drive, where you have to hear how many times an 80-year-old woman's fence has been taken out. So let's get to Sean Lay. And Sean, this story is just wild.
Wild, and Isabel Getty is the woman you're talking about here, and we don't even like standing out here, but follow me here, stick with me. This is John R., a lot of speed here, traffic lights sometimes out. This is the Davison Service Drive, big time speeds through here, so lots of crashes coming through, drivers losing control and hitting this fence. This is a new fence, these guys put it up. These barriers are new, but today another collision in the intersection. A driver loses control, comes this way, hits Miss Getty's fence yet again. This is stressful for her, this is costly, and there has to be a solution. How many times has your fence been hit by a car, a driver?
As of today,
26
times.
Say it again.
26 times.
26 times?
26 times. And I can't take it no more.
We have gotten to know Highland Park's Isabel Gaddy very well over the last few years. We have seen her fence at the corner of John R. and the Davison Service Drive a lot. A fence that attracts bad drivers. When we first met, drivers had slammed into her fence
About 11 times.
This past summer, the numbers of drivers taking out her fence more than doubled.
This is a hell of a corner. I guess we should name it, the street should be Hell Boulevard, because that's what's keep happening out here.
Good Samaritans putting up this latest new fence and concrete poles to protect it. Friday, another crash. A car crashing through the new fence and into her yard where her guard dogs keep watch. Then a man shows up with a gun.
And he said, I'm going to shoot the dog. He said, why are you going to shoot the dogs?
More driver drama.
If they try to bite her, I'm going to shoot them. He said, how you going to shoot my dog in my yard?
This time, the traffic lights were out before the crash. That's a problem. Wayne County and Highland Park must make this intersection more safe. You said 26 times.
Yep.
You're telling me a story.
Today.
You're telling stories.
Hear my hand of God. Hear my hand of God. And I fixed it, myself every time but twice.
Ms. Gaddy fixing this every time but twice, she says, because the drivers that lose control here or crash don't have insurance. In addition to putting up new fencing and poles, Ms. Gaddy says she is definitely going to put up a sign that says if you don't have car insurance, stay off the Davison Service Drive. We're also talking, guys, to Wayne County and Highland Park to see what kind of solution there can be to slow drivers down on the service drive. That would solve this problem more than likely. We're live tonight in Highland Park. Sean Lay, Local 4, back to you guys.
Unbelievable. Bless her heart. All right, Sean, thanks.
An East Point man is formally charged in the murder of his mother. Justin Jackson facing several charges, including murder, tampering with evidence, and lying to police. Investigators say several weapons were used to kill Samantha Genther back in June. Prosecutors say Jackson became angry with his mother because she contacted Protective Services about the welfare of his children. Her body was found this week in a storm drain.
A former third-party employee at Frasier High School has been charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct with a student. Take a look here. This is 25-year-old Robert Lindsay, a third-party contractor who worked at the school as an audio-video technician and auditorium manager. He formerly worked for EduStaff and resigned prior to his arrest. If convicted, he faces a minimum of 25 years in prison.
Emotions running high in East Lansing today during a very contentious Board of Trustees meeting. It stemmed from a written letter from trustee Brianna Scott accusing the board chair of bullying. Those accusations have led to concerns MSU could lose its accreditation, its federal funding. Today, the chairperson, Rima Vassar, denied those allegations again, and then Scott responded tearfully, addressing the public backlash that she's received since releasing her letter.
You have no idea the stuff that has been said about me this week. And all I wanted to do was stand up for people who don't have a voice because they're so afraid to do what I have done.
I'm looking forward to a review of my conduct, as I am not aware of any policy I have violated.
Governor Whitmer is also weighing in on the situation, saying if the accusations of bullying are accurate, it would be a serious breach of conduct. She went on to say there should be a full investigation into what happened. That followed earlier this week, Senator Debbie Stabenow saying it's time for Vassar to step down. Folks near Midtown are celebrating the opening of the 2nd Avenue Bridge that stretches over I-94 in Detroit.
The bridge connects the campus of Wayne State University to the city's new center area, which includes the Fisher Building and Henry Ford Hospital. Commuters now have access to bike lanes and pedestrian walkways, something the old bridge didn't have. Construction of the $26 million bridge was done off-site, and the process to move it began last July. Really neat.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see what's happening. The weekend is upon us. We've had great weather.
Last weekend of October, and it went out in style.
It really did.
We sure did end October on a positive note. I mean, it's not officially over until Halloween, but we're going to wrap things up with temperatures today in the upper 70s. It's been dry, but there are some showers out to our north and west out ahead of a cold front that is really going to change things for the weekend and into next week. Much cooler air settling in. But for tonight, right now, 70 downtown, 68 at Metro, Ann Arbor, also in Howell and Pontiac. low 60s in Mount Clemens. Tomorrow, we'll hit our daytime high just after midnight tonight of 65 degrees, and then we'll spend much of tomorrow only in the 50s. 53 at noon. Little sun weaving through the clouds at times, mostly cloudy by 8 o'clock tomorrow night as our next system comes in for the second half of the weekend. So again, that daytime high will be hit tomorrow just after midnight. Then we slide down through the 50s. The temperature trend over the next 7 days. It's a cool one. Next week, our highs will only be in the 40s, lows in the upper 20s, and we could see the first flakes of the season next week.